Former Counting on star Jinger Duggar was raised in a family that prefers unmedicated home births over hospital births. However, the sixth-born child of Michelle and Jim Bob Duggar opted to welcome her first two babies in a medical setting, but recently Jinger Duggar claimed a hospital gave her hard drugs without her knowledge after delivering her first daughter Jinger and her husband Jeremy Vu, married in 2016. The couple welcomed their first daughter Felicity in July 2018, followed by another daughter Evangeline in November 2020. In October 2024, Jing announced that she and Jeremy were expecting their third child during the November 20th episode of the Jinger and Jeremy podcast. The couple reflected on celebrating 8 years of marriage. Jinger also recalled the interesting dive she and Jeremy took from a hospital in San Antonio, Texas, to their home in Laredo. It was when they brought their eldest daughter Felicity home. It was pretty wild because they were like, well, you know, you've been doing great after having Felicity. You shouldn't be in much pain, Jinger explained. But they were like, we going to give you 1 dose of medicine just to get you home, although Jinger thought they would give something like a ibuprofen based on how her body reacted. That wasn't the case. They gave me some serious, like hard, I was going to say hard drug. She said it was bad. They gave me something, and I don't remember what it was, but it made me so nauseous. Jinger continued, I felt like I was going to vomit the second I got in the car. I think they gave it to me 10 minutes before because it's supposed to help you ride in the car for 2.5 hours. And I sat in the car with the AC blasting, and I was just so sick, and I felt like shaky. I felt horrible. She added, to this day, I don't know what that medicine they gave me, but I will never let them do that again, thankfully. Jinger's experience after giving birth to Evangeline went much more smoothly, as she requested only to be given ibuprofen for pain after delivery, despite her avoiding taking pain medicine, unless she feels she really needs it, Jinger said. She is completely okay with using an epidural during labor and delivery. I'm all about natural stuff in general at home, but I'm not super crunchy to wear. I'm going to be like, don't give me an epidural, she said on her and Jeremy's podcast. I will do the epidural like I said. My birth plan is going to the hospital, have the kid, hope they're good. Hope I'm good, get the baby out, so if I'm in severe pain, you better be giving me some medicine. On their podcast, Jeremy and Jinger also discussed that they weren't comfortable with the idea of home birth because of Jinger's family history of having to be transported to the hospital for complications, which means they'll likely still head to the hospital for the arrival of their third child, as Jinger told People their baby's due date is in March 2025. Duggar News followers know Jinger Duggar has always been one such celebrity, from 19 kids and counting, and she has spoken about all the scandals of her family, be it Josh Duggar's imprisonment or all the toxic beliefs she grew up with due to her big family following the IPL lifestyle. In fact, Jinger has also released books about her experience. Since then, viewers have often turned to her when they need raw and unfiltered truths about the doers. However, Jinger is not always making praiseworthy headlines. For instance, her husband Jeremy Vu has been in the limelight lately. Viewers must know by now how he was a pastor at Grace Community Church in Laredo, Texas. He has been actively involved in preaching and church leadership, but his recent podcast sparked controversy as he talked about a somewhat toxic aspect of having a healthy marriage. Usually, Jeremy Vu is making headlines for encouraging Jinger Duggar to break free from the toxic evil conditioning she had to follow while growing up. During one of his religious podcast episodes, he called Jim Bob's evil teachings devilish while slamming legalism. It says following strict rules or laws is what earns a person's salvation or makes them right with God. Legalism suggests that if you follow all the rules perfectly, you're guaranteed to go to heaven or be accepted by God. Jeremy disagrees with legalism because he believes it misrepresents God. Legalism suggests that God will only be pleased if you follow a strict set of rules, like if you do this, then you'll get that approach. Jeremy thinks this idea is wrong and even devilish because it makes God seem like a rule enforcer, not a loving figure. This statement earned Jeremy tons of appreciation, but another one of his striking sayings landed him in trouble. What did he do? And why did it upset Duggar News followers so much? Jeremy and Jinger podcast in it. They often discuss their lives, and more importantly, their relationships. In the brand new episode, they talked about the hard parts of their marriage. Our brother, Josh Duggar's trial for possessing Sam and going to jail was a tough time for the family. Jinger said that she and Jeremy leaned in on one another and their faith back then. The Duggar News child star emphasized that her husband's love for her, despite what they were walking through, was comforting. Hence, she was glad God allowed all of that. Well, Jeremy then explained that marriage isn't about sticking to a perfect plan. It's about the commitment. Even when things go wrong, don't think if it doesn't go as planned, I'll leave. Work through the challenges together. That's when a discussion began on Reddit. A follower said that Jeremy made an impassioned diatribe about marriage. They found it toxic as they had been in an unfavorable marriage for 10 years and everyone around them preached that earthly suffering is better than an eternity of torment in hell. Lots of people condemned Jeremy's belief of sticking together in a marriage no matter what the externalities. They said that it's not fair to bind people in such a manner.